Onward is directed by Dan Scanlon and stars Chris Pratt and Tom Holland as these weird blue creatures. It is the newest film from Pixar, and if I'm going to be honest, I wasn't excited for this film. I personally didn't see it in theaters because I didn't think I would like it. And I was very wrong. Now that it's come to Disney Plus today, or at least in the US and Canada, I got the chance to check it out, and let me just tell you, this film is fantastic. Normally, I would see a Pixar film in theaters, because I really love Pixar. They made some of my favorite films. Finding Nemo is my favorite film of theirs. I also love, of course, The Incredibles, the Toy Story trilogy, and even 4. Toy Story 4 of last year was the best animated film of last year, easily, and a great film. And they've just made so many great films. They made some that are okay, and then some that are bad, and I will do my Pixar ranking after I rewatch 2 or 3 of them and watch Coco for the first time, because I still haven't seen that one somehow. But Disney overall last year kind of had a bad year in my opinion. Like, Toy Story 4 was great, but then Aladdin I thought was absolutely horrible. The Lion King wasn't good. It wasn't as bad as Aladdin, it wasn't good, but it was just, it wasn't even okay, it was just not good. And then again, Frozen 2, also did not like that film, so I was a bit worried, and the trailers didn't really get me excited. As I said, I didn't see this in the theater because I wasn't really excited to. I wasn't excited for the film, but I did want to check it out the first day it came to Disney Plus. And my problems with the film I'll discuss first. The first act isn't really that good. Now, can't even tell exactly why. It just feels like it doesn't exactly know where it's going, but once we hit the second and third act, this film gets elevated to a great level. Again, in this first act, I don't know, this film is like an hour and 42 minutes long, and it feels like it's over 2 hours. So, due to the pacing, which I won't really complain about a lot, the film feels longer than it should and kind of drags on, but I only really want the film to get going in that first act, because once it hits the second act, I'm like all in and then this ride, and then the third act is just fantastic. This is kind of a mixed part, like it isn't really a big, oh I hated this, but didn't really like it. There are times where this film gets pretty dark and deep, like it has some scenes where it has some dark moments, and not every one of those moments worked for me. There were a few where they were just out of nowhere, like it was just like, da 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 da, bah, like, like something like that, and I don't really think, at least, especially as I said, in this first act, that a bunch of these darker moments worked. Now, when we get later into the film and many different themes get introduced, that's when the film gets really good. Tom Holland is fantastic in this film. He is easily the best part besides the gorgeous animation, which is Disney, you are fantastic. Your films look amazing. But Tom Holland is just perfectly cast in this role. Like, of course, I love him as Spider-Man Peter Parker. He plays that role amazingly. I think that's a word. He was perfectly cast as this role, as he's very nervous, and he's really good at playing that nervous character. His character has a bit of a transformation. I won't get into spoilers, but of course, his character has an arc, and there are times, I'm trying to say this without spoiling it, where he has to fight against stuff, and the way that Tom Holland portrays it just with his voice is fantastic. Chris Pratt is one that I heard people complain about, and I was a bit worried about, but then I watched it, and I'm like, why? He is also fantastic here. Obviously, the Lego Movie is a film which, I'm just gonna say it, it's probably one of my favorite animated films of all time. Like, I know it's stop motion, but Chris Pratt is fantastic in the film, and he's almost as good here. Now, I haven't seen Lego Movie Part 2, I haven't heard good things about it, but he is fantastic in Onward as Tom Holland's older brother. He plays his character well. You get to know his character traits, just everything about him. And I really loved his performance, especially Tom Holland's. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus plays their mom. She's also fantastic in the film. Like, everyone is very good at their voice acting. I really love, especially those two stand-outs. And Elaine Seinfeld, I'm just going to call her that, because why not? She is also fantastic here. Now, there is one character where we're getting a bit back to this is like my last problem with it. There's a character, and if you don't know the story, it's like, they're trying to find their dad, the rest of their dad's body, because they cast a spell. This is, again, isn't a spoiler, and it only gave him to his legs. So they're trying to get the Phoenix gem, something like that, to get the rest of his body back. But they only have till sunset. But their mom now has a new boyfriend who's this cop, and I didn't like his character. His character had some okay scenes, but his best scene, really the only scene that I actually liked his character in, involved Tom Holland and Chris Pratt's character. So that kind of says something about his character. I'm not sure, I just wasn't really a fan of him. But the animation is gorgeous, and as I said, after we get to the second act, the film just gets better and better as it goes along. At first, I was kind of worried. I was like, oh, this film may have been what I expected it to be, but no, it subverts your expectations in the best way. Now, there are a few things where I knew how this film was going to end. Like, I knew, I won't spoil, but I knew it was going to start here, and then the ending was going to be this. But it's about the journey of how they got there. There are things that, on their path there, maybe what's an example that doesn't spoil? Maybe there's something that involves a bridge, and then even inside of those scenes, the scene involves a bridge, which is my favorite scene in the film. There's things inside of the scene which even subvert your expectations, and that's what's so great about Pixar and this film. This film is a lot better than even the trailers made it out to be, and I really liked it. I'm gonna give Onward a B+. I would say if you have Disney Plus, definitely check this one out. It is one that, as I said before, I was not excited for. I did not expect to like this film, and not everyone will like this film even as much as I did. Like, some people may think it's okay, but it's not like top 10 Disney Pixar or anything, but really, you have to be basically an A or an A+ film to get into that top 10, in my opinion. But there are just so many themes introduced in this film that not everyone will relate to, not everyone will get, and that's really, this one will be very diverse. Of, like, some people will understand some things, some people will not like how some things are portrayed. Personally, I liked everything in the second and third act, basically. Thank you all for watching. Check out my podcast with Carter Anderson. The link will be in the description down below. It's also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, a few other things. Thank you all for watching. Comment down below your favorite Pixar film. I will have my Pixar ranking of all the Pixar films very soon. And if you've seen this video, you know which one my favorite is. And I will see you guys next time. Over and out.